So I got a really great question from Isabel over on Venmo asking me for recommendations on what to do in Stratford-upon-Avon. So if you don't know me, hi, my name is Kaylee. I'm a Shakespeare academic, and I actually got my master's in Shakespeare from the Shakespeare Institute, which is located in Stratford-upon-Avon. I lived over there. Also, please excuse how tired I look. I had a 24-hour migraine yesterday because of the air pressure in the Midwest and had to work a full retail shift on top of that. Stratford is an absolutely lovely little town with a whole lot to do. Particularly if you like anything to do with Shakespeare. So buckle in. Obviously, you've got Shakespeare's birthplace, you've got the new place, you've got Anne Hathaway's cottage, and you've got Shakespeare's gravesite. So those are the big ones. Birthplace, I think, is great. I think that's kind of a must-see. That is the actual house that is still standing, and it is just on Henley Street in the middle of Stratford-upon-Avon. It's, you know, as expensive as a museum tour is going to be, but it's a small museum, super worth it, in my opinion. You gotta hit two places, I would say the gravesite and the birthplace. The birthplace is great. It's gonna be as expensive as a museum's tour is gonna be, but it's a pretty small tour. It doesn't take too long, and it's really cool. The house is still standing. That's really cool. Also, if you've ever read Hamnet, it really gives you a really great idea of exactly what that house a lot of that book takes place in looked like. So cool. The gravesite has odd hours because it is inside the church. He's buried at the altar with his family. So do double check on the website and everything and make sure that Trinity is open, because there's definitely been a lot of times that I've just kind of gambled on it and been like, well, we can't go in. We can't see where he's at. They're closed. But it's a beautiful little walk along the river down to Trinity. And yeah, it's a gorgeous little walk down there. And in the winter, a lot of the trees at Trinity College are also knit bombed. That's fun. You will pass the Royal Shakespeare Company on your way down there as well, which if you can get tickets to go see a show at the Royal Shakespeare Company, I highly recommend doing so. They are sometimes hit or miss for me personally, but when they hit, they hit. Their stage production of Hamnet was so fantastic. Oh my god, I still think about it constantly. Anne Hathaway's cottage is further out of town, but it's really gorgeous. I wouldn't necessarily suggest going in the winter because a lot of the draw of it is the gardens. But again, if you're just interested in like Tudor architecture and like seeing really old houses, that one's cool. The new place is cool if you want to get, like, if you're really big into Shakespeare, the new place is cool. It is not the house. I think a lot of people go to new place expecting the house that is there now to be the house that Shakespeare built. It's not. It is next to the plot of land that Shakespeare had, and those have been made into gardens. Again, beautiful in the summer. Way more worth it, in my opinion, in the summer than in the winter. My secret must-hit is the Guildhall Chapel, and Shakespeare's schoolroom. Hands down the most underrated Shakespearean-related museum attraction in London, in Stratford, period, I think. It's great. It's well done. The volunteers there know exactly what they're talking about. The people who work there know what they're talking about, and they're very passionate, and they don't see as many visitors in there. It's way less expensive. And they also have some really, really cool medieval art that they found underneath the walls in there that you can go see, which is really, I mean, that's awesome. Same thing with the Guild Chapel. They found medieval, like, pre-Reformation art underneath the whitewash in the medieval chapel, which is just, it's very cool. There's not a lot of that left in England. If you're looking for some silly stuff to do, there's also the Shakes Paw Cat Cafe. It's a cat cafe where all the cats are Shakespeare characters. What is there not? Also, they have gluten-free food. By the way, I also have celiac. They have gluten-free food. And there's also Tudor World, which is one of those horrid little wax museums that is like half really good information and half really not good information, and is the delight of school children everywhere. I think it's kind of worth it. It's very silly. That is my super speedy Shakespearean recommends. But also, I, again, lived over in that area for 2 years. So if you guys have any other things that you would like to know about that, let me know. What it was like being an American living in England, or like food recommendations for Stratford. That too. The One Elm, by the way, was a great little restaurant. But yeah, I had a good time over there. There's a reason I'm not living over there anymore, but I had a good time while I was there. I hope this helped.